What's up, internet? Okay, welcome back to Cromto Gaming. Alright, as you guys can see in the title, this is the final thoughts for the Goularian Pirates, done by Salty Studios and Co. And yeah, so basically this is what I'm going to do here is the things that I thought that the project failed. That's the result of the project. We didn't hit what we wanted to do, so this is going to be going over why I think that, you know? There's going to be some things I liked, some things I enjoyed about the project, some things I thought were very valuable lessons, though there were many reasons for us failing the project. But and this isn't fail like by grade or anything, this is just fail by my standards. The game has not met to my standards, so in my opinion, the game's failed, essentially. Anyway, let's get right into it. After a quick drink. But, okay, yeah. So, final thoughts. So I just have a few pointers here. This is going to be kind of off the cuff. It's not going to be too in-depth or in detail because I'm working on a lot of other projects right now and I'm actually in kind of a rush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and I just have a few pointers here. I'm going to off-cut the final thoughts. I don't want to spend too much time on it. We've got so many more projects coming up. We're working on one right now that's really cool. But yeah, okay, so one of the major things, or the first things that we ran into, was definitely we weren't hitting our milestones on time. So a lot of us weren't, all of us really, not at the beginning, but over the course of the project, we all eventually started missing our milestones. We all eventually started not getting the work done, and what that does is it doesn't only affect us, but it knocks onto the other person. So for example, if I was programming and I needed a specific asset to move on to the next, or I needed a specific asset or specific animations or something for anything in the game. What I'd want to do is I want to code that, get that out of the way, and move on to the next thing, right? And then I can focus solely and wholly on the next thing. But the problem was we weren't, like, programmers and artists and programmers weren't lining up with each other. So the artists, I was discussing this with them as well later on. They didn't realize that their work has to coincide with our work, because not everything programmers do requires artists, right? But a lot of the things that we do require artists to finish. If they hand us assets like sort of art and animations, sort of say at the end of the week, when we started working on that stuff at the beginning of the week, we're left working on about 10 different things at once, and this really knocks us off because we can't focus entirely on one problem. We have to go back and we have to like redo things, or if something's not working properly, then we have to say it to the artist again, and then all of a sudden they have to redo the whole work, and it's the end of the week and it's the end of the milestone. We can't make it, and this puts stress on them as well then, you know. And I know good art takes time to make and all that kind of stuff. That was on me as well as project manager, that I failed to line that up properly, and I failed to line programming and art up together, so that when the art assets would be done, then the programmers could start working with the art assets, essentially. Another thing was, definitely a big thing. Like, we are college students, of course. We're not going to have an amazing standard, but the assets we were making, both code-wise, game design-wise, art-wise, animation, and all that kind of stuff, really wasn't up to standard. It really wasn't. It was not up to a industry standard at all. And what that does was that creates a knock-on effect as well. Like, at the beginning, I think we did pretty well. We had some good prototype assets. We just used some mesh textures, all this kind of stuff. We used some prototype code. Like, what should have happened is that stuff should have shouldn't have knocked on. That should have been kind of cleaned up, wiped up, put in a box, and left, and that should have survived the whole project. But it didn't. So, for example, for me, for standard code, when I created the demo for the game, it was a lot of prototype code, not product code. It was prototype code, and what it was is it wasn't very sustainable, right? And at the time, of course, I didn't really understand how to make proper, sustainable, maintainable code, but now I feel like I do better, a little bit better, especially because of this project. Like, you learn so many things, and that's why I'm saying none of these things are really mistakes, but they're learning curves. They weren't really failures, but it's a learning curve. Like, we might come back to this project later on, we can fix it up. It'll be, I'd really appreciate that. I'd really enjoy that. But at the moment, it's just not how it is. So yeah, but anyway, so standard. So what happens is, when you have a bad standard, for example, that knocks onto the next person, because we all have to work with each other's stuff, right? Well, not so much the artists. They just have to pump out their stuff to me and Ricardo, and then me and Ricardo make it work with it. If they create something that's a bad standard, then they pass it on to us. If it's a poor standard looking as well, like, it's not an excuse, but we're more likely to make it a lower standard of code for it as well. You know, if it's prototype animation, I'm not going to spend a lot of time with it because the next one might be a little different than this one, and I might have to do more work on it. So I'm just going to pop this out, and that kind of goes. So it's like, if you do quick work, I'm going to do quick work because I think this work might need reworking, and thus I'm going to have to rework on it as well. So then that's going to decide on what I'm doing or the standard that I'm working with. So yes, what else? Same, right? If the artists see that the work they're putting in isn't really paying off because the coders or the game designers aren't really lining it up properly or spending as much time on it to make it really good in the game, or how they imagined it in the game, then they're going to be deterred as well. And then the rest of their objects and the rest of their object assets are going to be of a lower standard then again. And that creates a real knock-on effect that absolutely 100% just keeps digging you in the mud. And that was a lot of the expression I was using during the other devlogs when we were making this. Was it felt like the project just kept getting deeper and deeper into the mud, and we just couldn't really drag it out again. Of course, like I said, that was because of like numerous reasons, but these are like kind of like the top things I think were like what was happening. So, oh no. So, okay, yeah, sorry for that, but okay, we're back. So, another thing, so after a while, at the beginning this was really, really good. We did a really good job, but then after a while it started getting kind of, I guess, boring for people, because, you know, it's that, like, some people started talking more, some people have more to talk about. So the communication started to break down. So communication between the teams started to break down. This is also my fault as a project manager. I did my best to keep going with every single person, and just basically gather feedback, see how they were feeling, see where they were on things. You know, people needed to be more honest, especially especially, well, all of us really. We all said like, oh yeah, we're gonna have this done by tomorrow. Oh, yeah, this shouldn't be a problem. Myself included, when I talk about code and when I talk about actually doing things, I say that it's yes, this shouldn't take more than, like, say 2 days to work out. This would be like 6 hours of coding. Like, I can draw it out here, like I can map it out on paper really quick. This is how it's going to work. This is going to be great. And then when it comes to actually putting it into practice and putting it onto the screen and into the hard drive or into the engine, it might not work properly or might not work as well as I thought I did, and then I have to work on it for like an extra day, and that kind of builds on and stuff like that. So that happened for all of us as well. Saying that, okay, we're like, yeah, this is going to be easy, we're going to have it done for tomorrow, for example, and then me not seeing it for another month or another week or another 2 weeks, sometimes not at all. Stuff kind of just, that's just what happens. That's also a natural part of the industry, and I'm pretty glad I got to learn this kind of things as well in somewhere like a college. It was really useful. Also, so yeah, so this was a big one, I think, as well, that really, like, we were kind of like, we were slowing down for a few weeks, but this one really, like, this is for me, that it just really put the nail in the coffin. Like, I completely messed up as a project manager. So at the beginning of the project, we had the idea. I feel like I had everything mapped out. I had this massive Trello board. I had all the tasks on it. I had, like, all details. Every single card had a description. There were, like, probably hundreds of cards, I'd say, if I can probably get it up here. Hold on, let me see if I can just pull it up. Oh my god, it was removed. Oh no, here it is. Yeah, I'm looking at it here, and there's, like, you know, I'd say there's about 100 cards in that. Maybe more than 100 cards. So this kind of thing, like, there was, and every single card had a description. I tried so hard at the beginning of the project, and I was really proud of it. Everyone had to know what they were doing. There was no way, like, it was basically I completely automated my role, right? I dragged tasks into people. So basically, people had these boxes, not these boxes. They had these cards, right? And on these cards, I would tell them, all right, this is your task for this week. This is going to be your tasks for next week. Complete your task for this week. Feel free to work on your tasks for next week, but please do not touch your tasks for next week unless you have your tasks done for this week. And that was kind of how it was going. And then this created blocks where people had to, like, constantly, like, they had this work. It was broken down into, they said it was maybe a bit too complex of chunks. So we fixed that in the projects we're working on now. So it was right, there was a lot of stuff inside the cards, and it didn't really, for example, if you had a card that had, like, say 120 tasks in it, and you had, like, 3 cards, and each of them had, like, one of them had, like, 120, one had 50, one had 10, it felt really hard to get through those tasks. You weren't really feeling like you're being rewarded, and I completely get that as well. That was my fault. I'm happy I listened to my every single one of my co-designers for this project, because, and I'm happy they could be honest about it with me, because this kind of stuff is really, really good. Stuff that might work for me definitely doesn't work for other people. So this was a really good learning thing for me. Also, yeah, so basically what started happening was the goals of the project started to shift halfway through the project. Not really halfway, but maybe like a quarter of the way. Then we were like, okay, maybe we want to go this way. We started like aligning the trajectory. We're going up now, and then we're going down this way. We're going here. We're going up to the side. And all this kind of stuff is happening. All the while, the goals and the tasks are staying the same. So I tried to update them week by week, but I wasn't updating the whole board every week, right? Because naturally, that's an incredibly hard thing to do, as well as project management, designing games, managing source tree, coding myself, all this kind of stuff. Of course, it's a very difficult thing to do, but it's something I got to learn how to do. It's something I got to get used to very soon. So what I'm going to try and do, and what I'm actually starting to do, is I'm starting to align my task managers like Trello, and we're sitting down with the designers. We're thinking, okay guys, where are we going? Has something changed? Are we going to remove something? Do we want to add something? Do we need to allocate more time for this? And we're doing all this kind of stuff, and I'm kind of adding that on as we go through. So I mean, it was a sad thing for this project, and it's one of the things that definitely killed this project, but it's such a good lesson to learn, and I'm so happy it happened. Also, as that, so big thing, like we got a lot done in the project, we got a lot of what we wanted to do, but our lack of knowledge of networking was the massive thing. And it wasn't just networking, but it was networking with the specific software that we tried to use. So we tried to use, was it Uniweb or something like that? I don't know. It was some Unity, it was some kind of Unity, like multiplayer networking kind of system that you could just basically drag and drop into your game, and it should work for other people. They had their own servers and stuff like that were running. I think they were paid servers, but they allowed you to run your server from your computer, which was a really cool thing. So I was like, all right, this is awesome. All right, we can just set up. Essentially, what we do have working is LAN parties working. Right? So you can set up games with computers that are on your same Wi-Fi, if that makes sense, or on your same IP address. So that was really cool. Issue. Who really has their computers in the same room anymore? Not a lot of people. We did at the time. We thought it was pretty cool, but not a lot of people do. So these kind of things obviously that was a limitation of the software. But not only that, it was being liquidated. They were trying to get rid of it because it essentially wasn't efficient. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't. It was an outdated software essentially. It wasn't going to work for us. It doesn't work for a lot of people, and it works for like some old style games, or not really old style games, but it worked difficultly with the last stuff that they had. Where with older stuff, they had older versions of Unity that supported it, all this kind of stuff. But they are replacing it. They're replacing it with something which is looking really cool. It's looking so much more organized. It's looking so much more fresh, so much more modern, and they say it's going to last a lot longer than this will. So I look forward to looking into that in the future. Maybe we might be able to just grab it, drag and drop it in the project. Might be good. I would like to remake the entire project because I think I can do it so much better. I do not want to work with the legacy code of this stuff. I fucked up. So 100%. But another thing with the networking experience, we weren't putting in the time to study enough. We didn't really learn a lot about networking or anything really in college, which is completely fair. It wasn't under the curriculum or anything like that. It was something that we decided to do that we wanted to do. Completely new, like off the cuff. We're like, all right, we want to do something fresh. We want to do something no one's done before in the course. We want to stand out. We want to get this done, and we were convinced we could do it, and we failed, which is a good thing. All right. A lot of people saying like, oh, you failed, it's over, like you're in it. Not a hope. You learn so much. We learned so much, and I just hope as long as the whole team takes all of this into account, they're going to be so much better in the industry later on. But yeah, putting in the effort to study it, because studying it was pretty hard. We never learned anything about or network frameworks or anything like that in college. So we really didn't understand even how the connectivity of servers worked, or how like the information and data flowed through them, how security worked, all this kind of stuff. We had really nothing. We knew how to make games on a computer on a local device. That was it. This was just us being very optimistic. We're going to fucking break that, and then we're going to fucking get in there. But it didn't happen. and that's completely fine. The end thing, so happens for everyone. We're human beings. You get up, you go down. You have bad times. Things happen in family. Things happen outside family. Things happen at work. Things happen here. Da 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 da. Everything happens. Like we have to work too much, but the commitment really, like at the end of the day, if we all committed a bit more, it would have worked. If we overcommitted, if we all went all in, if I worked a bit less, if other people worked a bit less, if we worked more on the project, like if we worked on work outside just for money less, if we worked in this project, if we learned more in this project, if we just kept an eye on everyone else's work while we're going, we might have made it. But here's the thing, we didn't. Alright, so, and we're students. Most of us are pretty young. We're all really young, actually. Like, what am I saying? Most of us. Everyone was really young. Like, we were all under the age of 30. Like, it's like the 20s is made for that. We're not going to commit to one thing overly, right? I mean, it's great if we can, right? Because we can get just amazing at that thing and just fucking blast ourselves into the future with it. But we want to try out different things. We want to see what we like. We want to see where we want to study. Like, I mean, so this is a side thing, essentially. We want to, like, we were all like looking at this and we're like, maybe we want to work this, but we don't want to go all in right now. We have relationships going on, we have work going on, we have other friends going on, we have exercise, or we have a lot of other commitments. End of the day, I think we just didn't put this high enough on the priority list. But you know what? I think that's completely fine. I think that's just how it happened. We were all students. It's not like it was going to be that great anyway. Because I mean, we're making games for 2 years, so it's not like it was going to be insane. That almost 2 years. It's not like it was going to be insane by then anyway. But that kind of wraps it up, guys. It's going to be about a 20-minute video. Yeah, it looks there. So it's almost 20 minutes video now. A little bit of a long one today, but it's going through a lot of the final things. The next video that's coming up is the Dashu chan. So a lot of you on my Instagram, or anyone that follows my Instagram would see it. That's at Cromto _game_dev. So essentially what that is, it's kind of like a unlimited runner. So what I'm going to do is I haven't made a devlog on that yet because I was kind of stuck on this one. I didn't know what I wanted to say. I had to process a lot of things, and I think what I did now is I did it correctly. I think I did kind of off the cuff. I didn't write down like 1,000 words of a script of what I wanted to talk about, things I want to talk about, and intricacies that was going to last for like 2 hours long. But what I might do is I might go through in podcast or something like that, because I am looking to start up a podcast, and I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. I think I might just call it Cromto's Podcast for now, because we're not just going to talk about games, we're going to talk about life, we're going to talk about music, we're going to talk about definitely games as well, making games, we're going to talk about other people, like in the industry and stuff like that. Stuff that's just fun, day-to-day things, funny stuff. And I'd say it's mainly going to be me for a long while before I get any guests on, but I just want you guys to look out for that in the future, because I am writing some scripts for some episodes, and I absolutely can't. I can't wait for that, because I love listening to podcasts, and I've always kind of wanted to do my own. I've been on one podcast that hasn't really gone up yet because I'm not great. I'm not a great guest at the moment. I don't know. I was on a music podcast. I wasn't really too sure about music and all that kind of stuff, but yeah. So awesome, guys. Thank you very much for listening, for watching. If you have any questions or any comments, just leave them in the description, or not the description. Leave them in the comments area down below. So it's like down there. If you guys want to see more, you can absolutely just hit my subscribe button. I think that's down here, or if you're on a phone, it's like still down there. But guys, thank you. I'd love if you guys give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. If you didn't like the video, be free to give me a thumbs down. It'd be really good, because I mean, if it's too long, then I won't make long videos anymore or anything like that, unless I need to fit this much information in. But yeah, that's kind of it. For the rest of the day, I'm just gonna eat my popcorn, drink my protein shakes, and not eat vegetables. Never eat your vegetables or fruit or any kind of micronutrients whatsoever. We're also opening up for testers. If you want to test us, just let me know in the comments. We've got a game going out right now, and we'd love to get you guys to test it out and do some bug testing for us. For which there's 4 major bugs I'm forgetting from testing that I'm doing right now. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. It's been Cromto Gaming, and as always, I will catch you later.